The starship Pathfinder hung in orbit around the blue-green planet. Captain Juan stood at the main window, hands clasped behind his back. His dark eyes studied the world below. Eridani 6 was beautiful. Vast oceans, wide grasslands, tall mountains with white snow on top. "Captain, the scans are complete," said Officer Jisoo. She pushed her short black hair behind her ear. "We found life signs, many of them, and some show signs of intelligence." Juan nodded. "What level of technology?" "Simple tools, some metalwork, nothing advanced. No electricity, no engines, no space travel." Jisoo tapped her screen. "Like Earth's Middle Ages." "Remember our mission," Juan said to his crew. "We watch, we learn, we do not make contact." The Pathfinder was an exploration ship. Earth had sent them to find new worlds and new life. But the rules were clear. They could not talk to aliens who had not yet reached space. It might change how they grow. It might hurt them. "There's something else, Captain," Jisoo said. "The scans show very large animals, and the intelligent beings seem to live with them. Maybe they tamed them." Juan was about to ask more when a loud alarm sounded. "Ion storm approaching," called out the pilot. "It's coming fast." Juan rushed to his chair. "Everyone, secure stations, raise shields." The storm hit before they were ready. The ship shook, lights flickered, sparks flew from the control panels. "Damage report," Juan shouted over the noise. "Communications array is down," reported the engineer. "Main engines still working. Life support stable." When the storm passed, Juan called a meeting with his top officers. "We need to fix the communications array," he said. "Without it, we can't contact Earth." "We don't have the parts on board," said the engineer. "But we could land and make what we need from raw materials." Juan frowned. Landing meant risk of contact with the locals. But they had no choice. "Jisoo, find us a landing spot, far from any settlements." After careful study, they found a place. A small valley between tall hills. No signs of the local aliens for many miles. Juan and Jisoo took the small shuttle down to the surface. As they landed, they felt the planet's gravity, slightly less than Earth's. The air outside was clean and cool. "Let's work fast," Juan said. "We'll collect what we need and leave before anyone sees us." They set up their tools and began to gather materials. The planet's surface was rich in metals they could use. The work was going well, until Jisoo's scanner beeped. "Captain," she whispered, "something's coming. Something big." Juan reached for his stun pistol, not to hurt, only to protect if needed. "How far?" "About half a mile, coming from the east." They quickly packed their most important tools and hid the rest under camouflage tarts. Then they moved behind large rocks to watch. What came into the valley made them both stare in wonder. It was a massive beast, like nothing on Earth. It had 6 thick legs with claws that dug into the ground. Its body was covered in tough gray-green scales. A heavy tail swung behind it. Its head was wide with a horn on its nose, but it also had a mane like a lion's around its neck. And on its back, sitting on a simple saddle, was a rider. The rider was clearly female, though not human. Her skin was pale blue. Her face was almost human-shaped, but with larger, almond-shaped eyes. Those eyes were solid black without visible pupils. She had no hair, but instead, thin tentacle-like growths that moved slightly in the wind. They were dark blue with silver tips. She wore leather-like armor and carried a long spear with a glowing tip. Around her neck hung colorful stones that clicked together as the beast moved. "Incredible," whispered Jisoo. "A symbiotic relationship between species. The larger one provides protection and transportation. The intelligent one provides guidance and care." "We should go," Juan said. "Back to the shuttle, before she sees us." But as they tried to move away, Juan's boots slipped on loose stones. The small rock slide made more noise than they wanted. The alien rider turned her head sharply. She made a clicking sound with her tongue, and the massive beast stopped walking. Its nostrils flared, testing the air. It had smelled them. With surprising speed, the beast charged toward their hiding place. Juan and Jisoo had no choice but to stand and show themselves. "No weapons," Juan said quietly. "Stay calm." The beast stopped 10 feet away. It growled deep in its throat. The sound made the ground under their feet vibrate. The alien rider looked down at them. Her face showed surprise, then what seemed like recognition, and finally, determination. She raised her spear and pointed it at them. Then she spoke. Their translator devices, small discs pinned to their collars, hummed as they tried to process the strange language. After a moment, the translation came through. "You shall not pass, human," the alien girl growled. Juan and Jisoo looked at each other in shock. "How does she know what we are?" Jisoo whispered. Juan slowly raised his empty hands to show he meant no harm. "We come in peace," he said, knowing his words would be translated into sounds she might understand. The alien tilted her head. The tentacles on her head moved faster, as if showing emotion. The beast under her pawed the ground with one massive front leg. "I am Dami of the Eastern Ridge clan," she said after the translator processed her clicks and whistles. "Guardian of the borderlands, rider of Taijo." She patted the beast's thick neck. "And you are humans. The old stories speak of you." "Old stories?" Juan asked carefully. "What old stories?" "You came from the sky before. Long ago. In the time of my ancestors' ancestors." Dami narrowed her large black eyes. "You brought wonders. And pain. Then you left without warning." Juan's mind raced. Earth had no record of previous contact with this world. Had there been a secret mission? A crashed ship from the early days of space exploration? "We mean no harm," Jisoo said. "Our ship was damaged. We only came to make repairs." Dami studied them. The massive beast, Taijo, sniffed the air again and made a rumbling sound in its chest. "Taijo senses no lie in your words," Dami said. "But the old stories warn us to be careful with humans. Your kind is unpredictable." A distant sound caught their attention. Looking up, they saw a thin trail of smoke in the sky. Something was entering the atmosphere. Dami's eyes widened. "The firebirds return," she whispered. Her voice held fear. "What are firebirds?" Juan asked. "Evil ones from the sky. They came after humans the first time. They killed many of my people, took others away, never returned them." Dami pointed her spear at the smoke trail. "The old stories say they would come again when humans returned." Juan checked his scanner. The reading made his blood run cold. "Vordax," he said to Jisoo. "A scout ship." The Vordax were known throughout the galaxy as raiders and slavers. They targeted developing worlds for resources and captives. Earth had fought them many times. "We need to get back to our shuttle," Juan said. "Now." "No." Dami moved her beast to block their path through the narrow valley. "You brought the firebirds here. You shall not pass until you tell me why." Juan looked from the determined alien girl to the smoke trail growing larger in the sky. They had little time. "The firebirds are our enemies too," he explained quickly. "They must have followed our ship here. If we don't leave now, they will find us all." Dami's face showed conflict. Her tentacle hair moved in agitated patterns. "The old stories say humans fought against the firebirds to help my ancestors," she said finally. "Is this true?" "I don't know about the past," Juan answered honestly. "But today, yes, they are our enemy. And they will be yours too if they land." Taijo made a low, worried sound. Dami leaned forward to stroke his mane. "He senses your fear. It is real." She straightened in her saddle and lifted her spear high. "I will take you to your skyboat, but then you must tell me everything. About humans, about the firebirds, About why the old stories know your kind. Juan nodded. We will. I promise. Damie turned her mount around. Follow quickly. The pass ahead is hidden from the sky. The firebirds will not see us there. As they hurried after the massive beast and its blue-skinned rider, Juan knew that Earth Command would not be happy. The rule against contact had been broken. But sometimes, he thought, rules must bend when old enemies appear. And sometimes, the past reaches forward to change the future in ways no one could predict. Damie led Juan and Jisu through a hidden path between tall rocks. The massive beast, Taijo, moved with surprising grace for his size. His 6 legs found sure footing even on steep slopes. This way, Damie said. The firebirds will not see us here. They climbed higher into the hills. From this height, they could see the smoke trail in the sky changing direction. The Vordak's ship was searching. They're looking for our shuttle, Juan said. Damie clicked her tongue, making Taijo stop. Your skyboat is hidden. Yes, under trees. But their scanners can find it. Damie's tentacle hair moved in what seemed like a thoughtful pattern. We must reach the sacred cave. It blocks, seeing without eyes. She means it blocks scanners, Jisu said quietly to Juan. Some kind of natural interference. They followed Damie up a winding path. The land grew more rocky. Taijo climbed easily, his claws finding grip on the stone. When the path grew too narrow for the beast, Damie slid from her saddle. Taijo will go around. Meet us at the cave. She patted his thick neck. The beast made a rumbling sound and moved away, taking a different path. How does he know where to go? Jisu asked. Damie touched her forehead. We are connected. Here, since I was small. A psychic link. Jisu looked excited. Fascinating. Damie led them through a crack in the rock wall. Inside was a large cave. Sunlight came through small holes in the ceiling. The walls were covered with paintings. The old stories, Damie said, pointing to the images. Juan and Jisu studied the cave paintings. They showed blue-skinned people with tentacle hair. They showed large 6-legged beasts, and they showed other figures. 2-legged beings without tentacles. Humans, Juan said, touching one of the images. Yes, they came from the sky. Long ago. Damie sat on a stone bench. I am a guardian. My mother was a guardian. Her mother before her. Back to the time when humans first came. What is a guardian? Jisu asked. We protect our people. We bond with the kaiju. We remember the old stories. Damie touched the colorful stones around her neck. These show my rank. I am young, but I am trusted to watch the borders. A rumbling sound came from outside. Taijo had arrived at the cave's main entrance. The beast folded his legs and lay down, blocking the way. Damie looked at the humans with her large black eyes. Now, tell me why you are here. Tell me why the firebirds follow you. Juan explained about their mission, about exploring new worlds, about the rules against contacting people who had not reached space. But we don't know anything about humans coming here before, he finished. Our records don't show it. Damie frowned. The old stories do not lie. Humans came. They had weapons of light. They fought the firebirds with us. Jisu was examining the cave paintings more closely. Captain, look at this. One wall showed a large round object in the sky, people coming out of it, strange tools in their hands. That could be a ship, Juan said. But the style, it's not like our modern ships. Jisu nodded. It looks more like early explorer vessels, from the first wave of human expansion, before the resource wars. The Great Dark Time, Damie said, surprising them. The old stories speak of this too. Humans told our ancestors they had to leave because of great troubles at home. Juan felt a chill. The resource wars had happened 300 years ago. Earth had nearly destroyed itself fighting over the last oil, the last clean water. In the chaos that followed, many records were lost. The data purge, he said softly. After the wars, many old records were lost or destroyed. If a mission came here before that time, we might never have known, Jisu finished. A distant roar made them all look up. Through one of the ceiling holes, they saw the Vordax ship. It was closer now, hovering over the area where they had first met Dami. They're searching the valley, Juan said. What do these firebirds want? Dami asked. The Vordax are raiders, Juan explained in simple terms. They take resources. They take people as workers. They find worlds that can't fight back. Dami's face hardened. The old stories say they took many of my people, used them in dark places under the ground, worked them until they died. That sounds like Vordax mining operations, Jisu said grimly. Taijo made a low growling sound from the cave entrance. Dami's tentacle hair moved rapidly. He senses others coming, she said. My people. Soon they heard voices outside. Dami stood and called out in her own language. Several blue-skinned aliens entered the cave. They all wore leather armor like Dami's, with different colored stones showing their rank. An older male with silver-tipped tentacles stepped forward. He carried a staff topped with glowing crystals. I am Quan, Elder Guardian, he said after the translator processed his words. Dami sent word that humans have returned, and the firebirds with them. Juan bowed slightly. I am Captain Juan of the Earth, ship Pathfinder *. This is Science Officer Jisu. We didn't mean to bring danger to your world. Quan studied them with his black eyes. The humans from the old stories said the same. Yet the firebirds came anyway. An argument broke out among the Guardians. Some wanted to help the humans. Others wanted to send them away. Dami stood up for Juan and Jisu. Taijo senses no lies in them, she insisted. And the prophecy says humans would return when we needed them most. Prophecy? Jisu asked. Quan tapped his staff on the ground for silence. Before the last humans left, their leader made a promise. They would return if the firebirds ever came back. They left us a gift to keep safe. He turned to a wall of the cave. The older guardian pressed his hand to certain spots in a pattern. Part of the wall slid open, revealing the hidden space. Inside was a metal box. It was clearly not made by the aliens. It had Earth writing on it. Earth Defense Force. Juan read from the box. This is military technology. The heart of stars, Quan said. The humans said it would sleep until needed again, until humans returned to wake it. Juan carefully opened the box. Inside was an old-style datapad, the kind used 3 centuries ago during the first expansion. It was still in working condition, kept safe in its sealed container. Incredible, Jisu whispered. Self-sustaining power cells from that era could last centuries if unused. The screen lit up when Juan touched it. A message appeared. Asterisk to future Earth explorers. If you are reading this, you have met the Rathi people. In 2156, our expedition helped them fight off Vordax raiders. We violated non-interference protocols, but we couldn't stand by and watch. The Rathi formed a bond with our crew that transcends species. The data stored here contains everything we learned about Vordax weaknesses. Use it well. Protect these people as we tried to do. Captain Elena Choi, EDF Horizon *. 2156, Jisu said. That was during the first expansion, just before the resource wars. The records from that time are incomplete. Juan nodded. No wonder we didn't know about this mission. A loud boom shook the cave. Dust fell from the ceiling. They're using weapons on the valley, Juan said. Looking for us or the shuttle. Quan turned to the other guardians. Prepare the kaiju. Call all guardians to the sacred valley. It is as the prophecy foretold. The guardians hurried out. Dami stayed behind. What happens now? She asked Juan. We need to get back to our shuttle. Contact our ship. Juan held up the old datapad. This might help us fight the Vordax. I will take you, Dami said. But first, you must understand who we are. She led them deeper into the cave. They came to a large open space, lit by glowing crystals. The walls here were covered with even more detailed paintings. "This shows the truth of the Guardians," Damie explained. The paintings told a story, how the Wrathy people had always lived alongside the massive kaiju beasts, how special children were chosen to bond with kaiju cubs, how the bond let them share thoughts and feelings with the great beasts. The first humans saw our bond with the kaiju. They helped us make it stronger. Damie touched a painting of a human giving something to a Wrathy child. They gave us medicine that helped more children form the bond. Genetic modification. Jisoo guessed. When the Firebirds came, we fought together. Humans with their light weapons, Guardians with their kaiju. Damie's voice filled with pride. We drove them away. Taejo's roar echoed through the cave. Damie's tentacle hair straightened in alarm. "They are coming closer," she said. "We must go now." As they hurried back through the cave, Juan asked, "How many Guardians are there?" 500 with full bonds, each with a kaiju," Damie whistled, and Taejo rose to his feet. "But the Firebirds have sky ships and weapons of light." "We have those too," Juan said. "If we can reach our shuttle, contact our ship." Damie mounted Taejo and reached down her hand. "Then we ride." Now, Juan and Jisoo climbed up behind her on the massive beast's back. Taejo's muscles bunched under them. "Hold tight," Damie warned. Taejo is the fastest kaiju in the Eastern Clan. With a roar, the beast leaped forward. They raced down the mountain path as the sound of Vordak's weapons grew louder behind them. The ancient alliance was forming again, but would it be in time? Taejo ran faster than Juan thought possible for such a large beast. His 6 powerful legs ate up the distance. The wind rushed past them as they held tight to the saddle. Damie stood balanced on Taejo's back, her tentacle hair streaming behind her. "There," Jisoo pointed. "The shuttle is just beyond those trees." Damie whistled a command. Taejo changed direction, heading for the trees that hid the human shuttle. But as they got closer, they saw smoke rising. "No," Juan said. "They found it." Damie slowed Taejo to a careful walk. They moved quietly through the thick forest. When they reached the edge, they could see the small clearing where the shuttle had been. 2 Vordak soldiers stood near the damaged shuttle. Their skin was gray and scaly. They had 4 arms each. Their heads were flat, with 3 yellow eyes in a triangle pattern. They wore black armor with red markings. "Only 2, Juan whispered. "Scout team." "The main ship must still be searching elsewhere," Jisoo added. Damie studied the aliens. "These are the Firebirds. They do not have wings." "That's just what your people called them," Juan explained, "because they came from the sky in birds of metal." The Vordaks were scanning the shuttle with small devices. One of them spoke into a wrist communicator. Their language was harsh and clicked. "They're calling their ship," Juan said. "We don't have much time." Damie's black eyes narrowed. "I can take them." Before Juan could stop her, Damie whistled sharply. Taejo roared and burst from the trees. The massive beast charged the surprised Vordaks. Damie raised her spear, its tip glowing bright blue. The Vordaks turned, raising their weapons. But they were too slow. Taejo smashed into one, knocking him down. His huge clawed feet pinned the alien to the ground. The other Vordaks fired his weapon, but Damie threw her spear with perfect aim. It hit the Vordax's weapon, knocking it from his hands. Juan and Jisoo ran from the trees while the Vordaks were distracted. Juan had his stun pistol ready. He fired at the second Vordax, hitting him in the chest. The alien fell, not dead but unable to move. "Check the shuttle," Juan told Jisoo. "See if it can still fly." Jisoo ran to the shuttle while Juan approached the Vordax that Taejo had pinned down. The alien hissed at him, showing sharp teeth. "Human," it said in a rough voice. "You protect these primitives. They are nothing. Resources to be used. They are people," Juan said, "with rights. This planet is under Earth protection now." The Vordax laughed. Your ship is one. Ours are many. We track your signal. The fleet comes. Dami had retrieved her spear. What does it say? More Vordax ships are coming, Juan told her. Many more. Jisu emerged from the shuttle. The engines are damaged. Communications still work. I sent a message to the Pathfinder *. Will your sky ship come to help? Dami asked. Yes, but it's only one ship, Juan said. If the Vordax are sending a fleet, a new sound filled the air. The roar of many kaiju. From the hills came dozens of riders, guardians on their massive beasts. Elder Quan led them, riding a kaiju even larger than Tejo. This one had armor plates on its back and 3 horns on its head. The guardians surrounded the clearing. There were at least 50 of them. Each rider wore battle armor. Each kaiju looked ready to fight. Impressive, Juan said. Quan dismounted and approached them. We have called all guardians. 500 will arrive by nightfall. 500 riders against spaceships. Jisu sounded worried. Even with our Pathfinder helping, those aren't good odds. Quan held up his staff. We have the heart of stars. The humans before you left more than just words. They left power. He turned to Dami. Take them to the temple. Show them the gift. Dami nodded. Tejo lowered himself so they could climb on his back again. We'll need to bring the data pad, Juan said, patting his pocket where he had stored it. What about them? Jisu pointed to the Vordax scouts. Bind them, Quan ordered his guardians. They will tell us more about their fleet. As they rode away, Juan saw the guardians surrounding the Vordax. The aliens looked much less confident now, faced with so many massive kaiju. Dami led them through forests and across wide plains. Other guardians joined them as they traveled. Soon 20 kaiju ran together, their riders calling to each other in their clicking language. Where is this temple? Juan asked. The center of our lands, Dami explained. Where the first humans helped us build a safe place, where they left their greatest gift. They rode for 2 hours. Finally, they reached a wide valley. In the center stood a city. Not primitive huts as Juan had expected, but buildings of stone and metal. They weren't as advanced as Earth cities, but they were impressive. Your people built all this? Jisu asked in surprise. With help from the first humans, Dami said with pride. They taught us many things before they left. At the center of the city rose a tall building. It was shaped like a mountain, with steps leading to the top. Strange metal discs were set into its sides. The Temple of Stars, Dami said. The people of the city came out to watch as the guardians rode through the streets. The common Rathi looked like Dami, but without the special stones that mark the guardians. They pointed at Juan and Jisu with excitement. Humans, the prophecy. They have returned. At the temple steps, they dismounted. Elder Quan was waiting for them, having somehow arrived before them. How did you get here so fast? Juan asked. Quan smiled. The temple has many secrets. They climbed the steps. At the top was a flat area with a strange metal circle in the center. It was covered with symbols that Juan recognized as early Earth language. This is old Earth writing, he said, kneeling to touch the circle. From before the resource wars. The first humans built this, Quan said. They called it the Shield of Earth. They said it would protect us if the firebirds returned. Jisu studied the metal circle. It looks like a control panel. But what does it control? Quan pointed to the metal discs set into the sides of the temple. Those, the first humans called them defense satellites. Juan and Jisu looked at each other in surprise. They left an orbital defense system. Jisu asked, "That's against all protocols." They were military. Juan reminded her. Earth Defense Force. During the first expansion, they had more freedom to make decisions in the field. He took out the data pad they had found in the cave. Let's see if this explains more. The old device had more files than they had seen at first. Juan found reports, logs, and technical diagrams. He read quickly. Captain Choi's team helped the Rathi build this temple. But it's not just a building. It's a control center. Juan looked up at the metal discs. Those aren't decorations. They're signal boosters. This whole temple is a giant transmitter. For what? Jisoo asked. Juan found the answer in the files. They left 12 defense satellites in orbit. Powered down to avoid detection. This system can wake them and control them. Damie looked confused. What are satellites? Metal machines that fly around the planet, high in the sky. Jisoo explained simply. They can watch for danger. And some can fight. Kwon nodded. The first humans said they would sleep in the sky until needed. But will they still work after 300 years? Jisoo wondered. Juan studied the technical specs. These were built to last. Self-repairing systems, solar power. If they're still in orbit, they might work. A young guardian ran up the steps. Elder. Skywatchers report the Firebird ship is moving toward the city. How long do we have? Kwon asked. 1 hour, maybe less. Kwon turned to Juan. Can you wake the Sky Guardians? Juan looked at the control panel, then at the datapad. I can try. But I need to understand this system better. I'll help, Jisoo said. 2 heads are better than 1. They knelt by the metal circle. The old datapad showed how it worked. Juan pressed his hand to the center of the circle. It lit up with blue light. It recognizes human DNA, he said, just like the datapad. Jisoo checked her scanner. I'm detecting power building in the temple. The system is waking up. The metal discs on the temple sides began to glow. A humming sound filled the air. The circle under Juan's hand showed a map of the sky. 12 small dots appeared, scattered around the planet. The satellites, Juan said. They're still there, still working. Damie and Kwon watched with wonder as the ancient system came to life. More Rathi gathered at the base of the temple, looking up at the glowing discs. The prophecy said humans would return to wake the skylights, Kwon said, to help us fight the Firebirds again. Juan worked the controls, learning the system. The datapad helped, showing how Captain Choi had used it centuries ago. I'm connecting to the Pathfinder asterisk, Jisoo said, using her communicator. They need to know about the satellites, so they don't get targeted by mistake. A loud boom shook the city. People screamed. Everyone looked up. The Vordax ship had arrived. It hung in the sky above the city, dark and threatening. No more time, Juan said. We need to activate the defense system now. He pressed the sequence shown in the datapad. The temple hummed louder. The metal circle under his hands grew warm. Satellites are powering up, Jisoo reported, watching her scanner. Weapons systems coming online. The Vordax ship opened panels on its sides. Smaller ships began to launch. Dropships carrying soldiers. They're starting an invasion, Juan said. Damie gripped her spear tightly. The Guardians will fight them on the ground. And we'll fight them in the sky, Juan promised, his hands moving over the ancient controls. The connection between past and present was complete. The help promised centuries ago was finally coming. But would it be enough? The Vordax ship hung over the city like a dark cloud. It was much larger than Juan at first thought. The main ship was releasing smaller craft, dozens of them. They began to circle the city. Jisoo, what's the status of the Pathfinder asterisk? Juan asked, his hand still working the ancient control panel. Captain Mina says they'll be here in 20 minutes, Jisoo replied. But the Vordax are jamming long-range signals now. Kwon gathered the Guardians at the base of the temple. Their kaiju formed a protective ring around the building. Citizens of the city ran to find shelter. The satellites are almost ready. Juan called down to them. We need to buy some time. Damie turned to Kwon. Let me lead the first charge. Taejo is the fastest. Kwon nodded. Take 20 riders. Hold them at the North Pass. Do not let them reach the temple. Damie mounted Taijo. The massive beast sensed her excitement and pawed the ground, ready to run. 20 other guardians moved to join her. "Wait," Juan said. He ran down the temple steps and approached Damie. "You'll need better weapons against their armor." He handed her his stun pistol. "It won't kill them, but it will slow them down. One shot, then it needs 5 seconds to recharge." Damie took the strange weapon carefully. "Thank you, human." Juan looked up at her, sitting tall on her mount. "Be careful." Damie's tentacle hair moved in what he now recognized as a smile. "Taijo will protect me. Return to your work. Wake the Sky Guardians." With a sharp whistle, she turned Taijo and led her riders away. Their kaiju moved fast through the city streets, heading for the North Pass where the Vordax would likely land first. Juan returned to the control panel where Jisoo waited. 9 satellites responding now, she reported. 3 still offline. 9 will have to do, Juan said. He studied the display. The Vordax are spreading out around the city. Classic invasion pattern. The sound of energy weapons echoed from the north. The battle had begun. Juan entered the final activation code from the datapad. The entire temple began to hum with power. The metal discs on its sides glowed bright blue. "Energy spike," Jisoo said, watching her scanner. "The satellites are fully awake now." On the control panel, Juan could see the satellites moving into position. The ancient Earth Defense Force had built them well. After 300 years of sleep, they still answered the call. "Targeting systems online," Juan said. "But I need to see what I'm aiming at." Quan approached with 2 young guardians. "These are our best sky watchers. They will help you see." The young guardians carried crystal devices. They placed them around the control panel. The crystals projected images of the sky above the city. Now Juan could see the Vordax ships clearly. "Incredible technology," Jisoo whispered. "These crystals are natural cameras." Juan didn't waste time asking questions. He used the control panel to target the smaller Vordax ships first. The satellites moved into firing position. "First volley ready," he announced. "Firing now." From high above, invisible to the naked eye, the satellites fired energy beams. Blue light streaked across the sky. 3 Vordax dropships exploded in midair. The people watching from below cheered. Quan raised his staff high. "The Sky Guardians awaken." He called out, "The prophecy is fulfilled." But the Vordax responded quickly. The main ship turned its weapons toward the sky, searching for the source of the attack. "They're trying to find the satellites," Jisoo warned. "Keep firing," Juan said. "We need to take out as many small ships as we can before they adapt." More blue beams cut across the sky. More Vordax ships fell. But their main vessel remained untouched. It was too well armored for the old satellites. A guardian messenger ran up the temple steps. "The Firebirds have landed troops at the North Pass. Damie and her riders fight them, but there are many. The Pathfinder should be here any minute," Jisoo said. As if answering her words, a new ship appeared in the sky. Sleek and silver, much smaller than the Vordax vessel, but fast and agile. The Earth ship Pathfinder had arrived. "They made it," Juan said with relief. The Pathfinder immediately engaged the Vordax ship, firing precise shots at its weapon systems. The Vordax turned to face this new threat. "Now's our chance," Juan told Jisoo. "If we coordinate the satellite fire with the Pathfinder's attacks, we might be able to break through their shields." Jisoo nodded and adjusted her communicator. "I'll relay targeting data to Captain Minna." While they worked, the battle on the ground grew fiercer. More messengers brought news. The Vordax had landed troops at 3 points around the city. The Guardians and their kaiju fought bravely, but the Vordax had energy weapons and battle armor. "We need to end this quickly," Juan said, "before we lose too many people on the ground." He studied the datapad again, looking for any hidden weapons or features they hadn't activated yet. Near the end of Captain Choi's notes, He found something. There's a unified firing mode, he told Jisoo. All satellites can combine their beams into one powerful shot, but it will drain them completely. One shot only. Would it be enough to disable the Vordax mothership? Jisoo asked. Maybe, if we hit the right spot. Juan studied the Vordax ship through the crystal projections. There, at the base of the command tower, that's their main power core. Another messenger arrived, out of breath and bleeding from a cut on his arm. Damie and the North Riders are falling back. The Firebirds have too many weapons. They approach the temple. Juan made his decision. Tell Captain Mina to pull back. We're firing the combined shot. As Jisoo relayed the message, Juan prepared the satellites. All 9 aligned themselves above the Vordax ship. On the control panel, warning lights flashed. The system was never meant to be used at full power after so many years of inactivity. Ready, Juan said. Firing in 3, 2, 1. He pressed his palm to the center of the panel. The temple shook. The metal discs glowed so bright that everyone had to shield their eyes. High above, the 9 satellites fired as one. Their beams joined together into a single spear of light that struck the Vordax ship at its power core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Vordax ship's lights flickered. Explosions bloomed along its hull. It began to tilt to one side. It's working, Jisoo shouted. Their power core is failing. The cheers below were cut short by a new sound. The roar of Vordax troops approaching the temple. They had broken through the north defense. Everyone prepare to defend the temple, Quan ordered. The remaining guardians formed a line with their kaiju. The Vordax soldiers appeared at the edge of the temple square. There were at least 50 of them, in full battle armor. Their weapons were ready. The lead Vordax stepped forward. Surrender the temple technology, it demanded in a harsh voice, or we will destroy everyone here. Quan stood tall. This is our world. You are not welcome here. Leave or die. The Vordax raised its weapon, but before it could fire, a massive shape leaped over the Guardian's line. It was Taijo, with Damie on his back. The kaiju had some burns on his tough hide, and Damie's armor was damaged, but both still fought. Taijo landed in front of the Vordax troops, roaring so loud the ground shook. Damie held Juan's stun pistol in one hand and her spear in the other. You shall not pass, Vordax, she shouted. The Vordax fired. Taijo moved with surprising speed, dodging the energy blast. Damie fired the stun pistol, hitting the lead Vordax. It fell. Then she threw her spear, taking down another. The other guardians joined the fight. Their kaiju charged the Vordax line. The battle was fierce, energy weapons against teeth and claws. But the kaiju were tough, their scales resistant to all but direct hits. From the sky, the Pathfinder sent down support. Small drones flew over the battle, firing stun pulses at the Vordax troops. Caught between the drones above and the kaiju on the ground, the Vordax began to fall back. In the sky, their damaged mothership was retreating. Its engines struggled to keep it airborne. The Pathfinder followed, making sure it left the planet. Juan and Jisoo ran down the temple steps to join the battle. They found Damie standing over a fallen Vordax commander. Your people fight well, Juan told her. Damie's tentacle hair moved in a tired but proud pattern, as do yours, human. The remaining Vordax threw down their weapons. Without their ship, and with their commanders fallen, they surrendered. As the sun set over the city, the victory celebrations began. The Rathi had defended their world. The Guardians had proven their worth, and the ancient alliance with humans had been reborn. In the temple square, Quan performed a ceremony. He placed colored stones around Juan and Jisoo's necks. You are now honorary guardians, he announced, friends of the Rathi forever. Damie approached, leading Taijo. The huge beast had been treated for his wounds and seemed eager for attention. He lowered his great head, and Juan carefully patted his mane. What will you do now? Damie asked. "We need to report to Earth," Juan said. "Tell them about your people. About the Vordax coming to this sector. Captain Minna says more Earth ships will come to help protect your world. And the Vordax. They'll think twice before attacking again," Jisoo said confidently, "especially when they learn this planet is under Earth protection now." Damie's black eyes studied them. The old stories were right. Humans returned when we needed them. As night fell, the stars came out. Somewhere up there, the ancient satellites continued their silent watch, now joined by the Pathfinder *. Old technology and new, working together to protect the Rathi. And on the steps of the temple, human and alien stood side by side, forging bonds that would last for generations to come. The prophecy had been fulfilled, but it was also a beginning, a new chapter in the old stories that would be told for centuries more.